Next up, I want to welcome on Illinois Lawmakers, the House Republican leader, Tony McCombie of Savannah. Good to have you back on the program, leader.
Well, glad to be back, and I'm glad to be here in Savannah speaking to you.
Have you had a chance to get some sleep?
Yeah, I slept about 2 hours yesterday, but I slept like a rock last night.
Well, and that kind of goes to the point of getting this whole thing started. Uh, the end of the session went way into the wee hours of the morning. It took Democrats in the House three attempts to get their budget over the line with the bare minimum of votes. You were watching the whole thing unfold. How did it play out in your view?
Well, it's typical. A lot of people may not pay attention to what goes on in Springfield, but obviously you do. And I think even Leader Cabello had mentioned, we don't have to be doing this. The headline doesn't have to be, pass a budget in the dark of the night. We don't have to do it that way. And I'm also not going to overly complain too much, because with the Senate taking control of the budget, at least we had a few days to analyze it. But being there, watching it unfold was certainly interesting. The supermajority has 78 out of 118. We have 40 members, and oftentimes we don't have to, they don't even have to ask our opinions or our say. And the unspoken rule of Speaker Welch is that we have 60 before you or the Democrats have 60 before you have a vote. So a lot of shenanigans and back and forth. They broke the rules to their own rules to pass it. So it was interesting to see it happen, and it'll be interesting to see how we go forward.
Speaker Welch called the new budget a moral document. You put it another way. You call it a negligent political document that comes with a massive price tag attached to it.
Yeah, I wish it was a moral document. The state would be better off for it, to be quite honest with you. I mean, Leader Hammond spoke very well about it. There's, $500 million in it that you can't even really talk about. There's three articles that are talking about political spending, and 500 million of that it doesn't even explain what it is. So how is that a moral document?
Could that be the member initiatives that the Democrats might be trying to get through for their members? I know Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer from Jacksonville, from your caucus, was out on that issue during the debate.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it is, and that's buying votes. So, you want to pass a tax increase, you want to pass a capital or a bond bill, they're buying votes from their members. And you saw that, and that's how that played out. And it's unfortunate. This is a budget of bullying and intimidation, not only of Illinoisans, but of Democrat members.
One of the characterizations of the budget from the Senate Republicans were that this is a shopping list of misplaced priorities when it comes to spending on things like aid for non-citizen residents of the state of Illinois, and that goes all the way from shelter to Medicaid, like healthcare spending.
Yeah, there's about $1 billion. It's really hard to find it, and it's going to be worse in this budget. But luckily, Comptroller Mendoza is working really hard to try to figure out the transparency of that budget. She's been a budget hawk about transparency, but we're looking at about $1 billion between healthcare, education, and housing. The real issue here is that funding is being taken away, being appropriated outside of Illinoisans' needs and put somewhere else. So that's the real issue.
My question to you then would be, if House Republicans had a majority, where would they have placed their budget priorities? More for education? What areas?
Yeah, first off, we're going to stop the spending. We have such agency mismanagement where we could be saving some money. Our priorities are with public safety, with education, obviously paying the pension, there's some good things in here, our most vulnerable. We would take a few years without any pork. We would if there's extra money, we could be putting it more so in the rainy day fund. We could be paying down our debt. We could be looking at structural reform. We could be growing our population.
Back to the budget for just a second, and we've got about 30 seconds to go. Most of the Democrats' money, the additional money, the $1.1 billion, comes from areas that most people will never be impacted. They won't feel it. It's not an income tax increase, but Republicans are still warning about that impact.
Well, I guess I'm confused. We all pay into the same kitty. It's kind of like they're talking about the 1% for the video gaming, right? So our video gaming taxes that are collected in rural pays for the vertical projects in Chicago. Chicago taxes pay for projects around the state. So we're all in this together. So wherever we spend our tax dollars, we're all paying into the same kitty.
Leader McCombie, thanks so much for your time. We're going to have to end on the note. We really appreciate your time.
You're very welcome anytime.